ajudar o pessoal na validação do diploma, né? Então, vocês vão ser bem orientados aí. E fiquem tranquilos aí que o homem sabe tudo aí.
Obrigado, Eduardo.
Tá bom?
Obrigado, Eduardo. Obrigado a Hello, né, por convidar aí, convite aí para poder explicar um pouquinho do processo. Como é que é o inglês dos outros brasileiros? Dá para entender ou não? Vamos praticar um pouco de inglês aí? Nós vamos daqui para aprender inglês, né?
Yeah.
What's your name, sorry?
My name is Emilio.
Emilio.
Jose.
Jose. So in respect to Emilio and Jose, I'll be simultaneously translating from Portuguese to English. And then it's a very good opportunity for the Brazilian engineers also to get the listening a little bit better, although my English is not very good, but I think it's a very good opportunity for all of us. Me to practice more English and you to listen and learn a little bit more as well. Because have you done your IELTS or PTE or TOEFL? You have already. And got the
6.5 overall.
good for that. So for those that haven't done yet, you have to do, and listening is part of the test. But if you don't understand, because I've got an accent, my English is not perfect. If you don't understand, just raise your hand, ask the question, and then I'll excuse and then I'll explain in Portuguese. Important is that you guys, it's going to be not full on because it takes about 20 hours for me to explain everything. So today I'm going to resume or summarize in 30 minutes.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very general overview of the process. And you have more opportunities to learn a little bit more. So yeah, as Eduardo said, my name is Gerson Haida. So I've created a website, www.engineersinaustralia.com.
Excuse me, there's another one here.
Another one. So I've created this website back in April this year with the objective to share information with other engineers. Because I've done the process myself, by myself, when I arrived here back in 2005. And it took me nearly 8 months to complete everything. Because I was going forward, I was going backward, I was going forward, doing, redoing. And at that time, back in 2005, didn't have any help. It was just Orkut, but Orkut, my wife was doing Orkut, I wasn't. And nowadays you got YouTube, Facebook groups, my website, we've got a lot of information. So I started back in April, Easter Friday, nothing to do, why not create a website? And that's what I did. So when you visit my site, it's not the flashiest, it's not professional, it's a site that an engineer designed. So it's like a house, a square, a box. No? That's my website. If I wanted to make it perfect, and that's the first hint for you guys. And it's good if you're taking notes, take notes of this hint. I always say to to the engineers that I speak to, I'll say in English and then I'll say in Portuguese. There are two doors. Sorry. Sure, I thought it was in there. So. perfect is enemy of good. So that's what I thought when I did my website, because if I wanted to be perfect to launch my website, I probably would be still designing until today. I would never be perfect. And then I would never have had the chance to start the website. So I started. It was a crappy website in the beginning, but I started. My first video, my daughter, she's 11 years old, and she, YouTuber and this and that, etc. She said, "Oh, Dad, aren't you embarrassed to publish this video?" I said, "Well, that's the best I can do." My wife almost divorced it because she said, "Ah." But 2.5 minutes video, oh, I was sweating. It was 2.5 minute video. Although in my previous life in Brazil, I was doing even live TV news with the work that I was doing. But when you're doing just in front of the computer, etc. But nowadays my video is slightly better. But enemy is, the perfect is enemy of good. O excelente é inimigo do bom. That's in Portuguese. And then the other statement that I use is done is better than perfect. Feito é melhor que perfeito. So a lot of you guys will procrastinate a lot. I'm a very big procrastinator. If I have to push things back for just not to do it, I will not do it. I will procrastinate because I want things perfect. And that's a very good excuse. And when you have to write your reports, you will think, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't know that terminology in English. I will not write. I will not start. And you will never start. So don't forget it. When you are sitting in front of your computer, you will remember, oh, Jason said, perfect is enemy of good. Just sit your bum on the chair and just start writing. You can review and get better a little bit later on. So why did I create the website? To share information and content. To help you to get your dream. What's your dream in Australia? You're here for one reason.
PR.
PR. Yeah, PR. I'd say that the permanent residency, it's a way to get to your dream.
Yeah.
My dream was to be able to offer a better life for my family, my wife and my daughter. We had a very good life in Brazil. When you came here, even today, financially speaking, it's not better than Brazil. But it's not just money. It's about quality of life. It's about safety. It's about lifestyle. So all of this, that was my dream. When you came here, I didn't have my daughter, but myself and my wife, we thought we want a place that we can offer our kids a very good life, without having to be concerned about all the things that if we were in Brazil, we would have to. You can't even speak on the mobile phone, I was told. You speak on the mobile phone, somebody grabs it. That's ridiculous. So the website has a lot of hints and tips for you to be professionally recognized here in Australia. I share also the day-to-day of an engineer here in Australia as well. I've got to be careful with what I share because a lot of things, I work full-time, and I've got to be careful with what I share because a few things are sensitive and confidential, etc. But overall, I would like you guys to have a smoother road than me, because my road was very rough when I did the process. And I said again, took 8 months of frustration and effort and sweat and etc. etc. And I came like probably you guys. I came as an international student. My wife was studying English, general English. I was studying diploma of business. I didn't even know that I could be her dependent. So I even paid a course for me. I didn't know that. I didn't need to. But I did because not many information. So I was working as a cleaner as well. I worked as a cleaner for 1 year. Didn't have Deliveroo and Uber Eats at that time. But cleaning, I was frying chips at the ECA. I was cleaning carpets in pubs. I was studying, and I was studying every day. Nowadays there are a lot of courses that we study 2 or 3 days a week. We've got some couple of days spare during the week, but at that time it was pretty much every day, from 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. So I was studying, I was working, and then working to do my CDR process. So where are you guys from?
Mexico.
Mexico. So, just a few things about me, really quickly. I was very fortunate. I'll probably say that I was very fortunate that first my parents, they worked really hard to provide me a very good education, and something that I want to give to my daughter. I studied in a very good school in Brazil. I went to a federal university because the school was really good. I managed to get a spot in the federal university. I wasn't very good at uni, but graduated anyway. And then I got a job. The Japanese government, I managed to get a scholarship to study in Japan, my post-graduation. And then I came back, got a good job. And then from the job, I went to Japan again to do another training course. I got another job with education department, looking after the whole infrastructure of the state. The department paid me my MBA. I went to France to study project management, paid by the department. Well, my project saved $100 million to the department, so I think it was a good exchange. They invested in me $100,000 and I paid back $100 million in savings, so I think it was a good deal for the department. But I was very fortunate. All of this I did without spending a cent because I managed to get good employers that were valuing their employees, and I did my bit as well. I was showing results. Here in Australia I did some training as well. It's important to have Australian-based training because the Australian market is still a little bit selective. So you've got to have some sort of qualification from here. So I did my diploma of business when I arrived here, and then I did an advanced diploma in project management, and then I did this training here, certificate for in training and assessment. That was, I'd say, critical to my engineering qualification validation because it taught me what is a competence. Because I was delivering training, I managed to get a sponsorship after almost 1 year here. A bit of coincidence and lucky. The immigration department was promoting an exposition, a job exposition in Melbourne, and then I did my CV, put a presentation together of my CV because I was going to Melbourne to present to employers. And then I asked my teacher at the school, my diploma of business teacher, to review, and he said, "Oh, is this you?" I said, "Yes." "You work as a cleaner?" I said, "Yeah." "Never mind, but that's my real CV." He said, "Oh, all right." And then he said, "My mom may need to have a chat with you." And his mother had a a company that was giving technical consultancy and training in business and project management. And at that time, they got a contract with the government to do training in business and project management with the transport and main roads department. And then I had an interview with her. She said, "Oh yeah, but I got my clinic, so I gotta be quick." I did an interview in her car at the Roma Street car park. And I got the job. 20 hours a week. I said, "Oh, you know, I can just work 20 hours. Oh, I need you 40 hours." I can't, because I'm doing my process of permanent residency. I don't want to have any complications with the immigration department. So she said, "All right." And then the son said, "We can give him a sponsor." "Ah, all right." So I did all the process. I qualified the company. I did all my application, etc., etc. And then I got a sponsor. At that time was 457 visa. And then I got a sponsor. But at that time I was already working towards my skilled migration, which is, I think, I don't know what number it is today, but that's the independent skilled migration. So I did that. I did other trainings as well. In the last few years, or probably since 2011, I'm part of the Engineers Australia panel of interviews for chartered professional engineers. So for those engineers here in Australia that are already recognized and they want to go to the next step. So I've attended quite a few interviews already, and unfortunately some engineers, they didn't pass because they were really, really bad. And here in Australia, I don't know how it's in Mexico, but here in Australia, Brazil is a bit different. Here in Australia, if the guy is not good, there's no way, oh yeah, what if, no, there's no way. You get 6 months, you can improve yourself, and then you can come back. Yeah. And then I got a job in the department of transport. Yeah, I got a job in the transport department, and nowadays I've been there for the last 10 years, and nowadays I manage a public contractor, which is like a construction company, and we build the roads, bridges, tunnels, and this and that. And I've got 250 people in my branch. So it's fairly full on. So it's really, really, was really good. But just because, like you, I made a decision back in 2005 that I will be recognized as an engineer. You've got to make the decision first. Ah, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Don't waste your time. If you don't know, don't waste your time. You've got to be sure that you want to be recognized. And then this is the objective of the validation process. That is my letter when I got from Engineers Australia, advising me that my CDR application was approved. And then I could apply for permanent residency. So that's a letter that you all want. That's the first letter. Then the second letter for the certificate is this one, which gives you the status of chartered professional. The chartered professional in Brazil is like you are a little bit like CREA registration, because here in Australia the registration is a bit funny still. But here, when you're chartered, it means that you don't need to work supervised. If you just get your recognition as an engineer, theoretically, you still got to be supervised.
Okay.
When you're chartered, especially in Queensland, we are in Queensland, to be able to work and provide professional engineering services, you've got to be RPEQ, Registered Professional Engineer of Queensland. And if you are providing professional engineering services, designing, estimating, delivering some projects, etc., calculating structures or machines or systems. If you're not RPEQ, if the Board of Professional Engineers in Queensland, if they catch you, it's a criminal offence. So if you're not RPEQ, you either got to be supervised by RPEQ engineer. For example, Mateus, he can work as an engineer and I can supervise him, so he doesn't need to be RPEQ because I'm supervising him as RPEQ. But if he decides to start work as an engineer, start designing things, etc., signing, without being RPEQ, somebody can dob him in, and then he can be criminally prosecuted by the Board and pay fines and go to jail or this and that, etc. Victoria, Melbourne, Victoria, they are now implementing the registration process. We'll start in 2021. New South Wales, because of the issue of those towers, they had, I think, 2 towers building that were cracks and this and that, etc. They now, in the Parliament, they're trying to get a bill to have some regulation on the profession. But this is the objective, and I put here as a motivation to you guys, because I'm pretty sure that in a period of time you will get your letter, and then after a few years you will be recognized as a chartered professional engineer. So just remember those 2 things. When you get your letter, you will remember me. When you become a CPEng, and then you can apply for RPEQ, you will remember me. And then we'll be mates. Mates in engineering. So what are we going to talk about in this workshop? The steps or the pathways to validate your diploma or your qualification, the CDR steps, which is competency demonstration report, the English test. We'll talk about CPD, continuing professional development, which is your desenvolvimento profissional continuado, your career episodes, and your summary statement, and obviously question and answers. And I'll briefly talk about the Code of Ethics of Engineers in Australia, because Engineers Australia is very strong on the Code of Ethics. And then I'm going to talk about the workshop, 11 days of qualification validation, that I starting actually today. This morning I sent the first video of the workshop. It's a free workshop that you will have the opportunity to attend as well. Alright, so pathways for the validation. Just taking the opportunity, well, Everton already did, just an attendance list. So once you put your name and email, I can put you guys in my database, and you guys will get notification and updates or videos, and I write articles in my blog, I got podcasts, I've got more than 60 videos in my YouTube channel that I can send you by email, and then you can just consume the content as you want. So the English version of this diagram is in the Engineers Australia Migration Skills Assessment booklet. I translated here because in English was a bit, and then, but there are 5 pathways basically. Brazilians, apart from the 2 Mexicans, everybody probably Brazilian, Brazilian as well. Is this one there? That for Brazil and Mexico, I don't quite remember. Have you guys checked if you guys are CDR or if you guys are? I'll quickly check here, because the Washington Accord, it's an accord that Washington Accord is an accord that 25, I think, countries. If you are graduated from one of those countries in some of the universities from a particular year, you don't need to do a lot. You just need to do an application, and Engineers Australia will recognize you. But I don't know if Mexico is. Australia, Canada, China, Hong Kong, India, Ireland, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Pakistan, Peru, Philippines, Russia, Singapore, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Turkey, United Kingdom, and United States. Sorry, Mexico is not. Damn, missed out. Yeah, so yeah, Mexico is not Washington Accord, so you will have to do CDR. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but of course, if you graduated here in Australia under an accredited Engineering Qualification Australia, you can automatically be a member of Engineers Australia. If you are in one of the countries, Washington Accord for professional engineers, Sydney Accord for what do you call technologists, which is technologists, in Dublin Accord for technicians or associate or engineering associates. And then everybody else, CDR, which is Competency Demonstration Report. So let's spend time talking about CDR. So these are the steps, the basic steps of the CDR. So this first one is pretty much piece of cake apart from the test, English test. So you've got to do all your personal identification documents and passports, IDs, and this and that. However, you've got to have your English test. It's important that in the CV and resume, you've got to have your whole professional life. Ah, yeah, Jason, but I had a gap year. Brazil, usually we don't have gap year. Gap year was when you graduate and then you decide not to do anything. And then you travel the world and this and that to stay like 12 months or 15 months. We don't have that luxury. Nah. We graduate, we gotta get a job straight away. So if you have a gap year, you've got to indicate in your CV that that year was a gap year. Engineers Australia, they require you to in your CV, since you graduate until today, you're gonna have every year covered. If you are not working there because you're studying, you're gonna put between 2016 until 2019, you're studying diploma of whatever, general English, whatever. Even though if it's not an engineering job, but you're gonna have it covered. And then you're gonna choose if you're going to be applying for professional engineering, technologist, or engineering associate or technician. And then your academic background, your certificate or your qualification there, your transcript, and other documents, academic documents like master's degree or specialization certificates or doctorate. If they are in other language than English, you've got to have the documents translated. And when you upload the documents, you've got to make sure that you upload the original document in the original language, in color, high resolution, 300 dpi scan, and you also got to upload the translated document in color with at least 300 dpi scan as well. And you've got to make sure that the translated document has got some information about the translator, the authorized translator. You've got to have the name of the translator, the ID, identification number of the translator, contact details, and the status, like an authorized translator, etc. But if you are using an ATI translator here in Australia, usually it's on there. And then your evidence of work. That's very important. If you're going to use a work experience as your career episode, you've got to write 3 career episodes, by the way. If you're going to base one off, or the 3 or 2 in your work experience, you've got to have a reference letter from your former employer or your current employer, whatever is your situation. And also, if in your CV you're claiming that you had worked more than 12 months in one company, you've got to have a reference letter as well. That reference letter got to have, better to have a letterhead of the company with contact details, the name of the supervisor, the name of the supervisor, and your main 5 functions that you did. It's important to have your pay rate as well. Let's say in Brazil is monthly usually, so in hours per week, because they consider full time, so you gotta have at least 40 hours or more than 20 hours full time. If you're just working 20 hours, it's considered then part time. And yeah, so very important to have your, yes, I think I've got some questions there later on. And then you gotta have your report, which is divided in 3 sub-reports. The first one is your CPD, Continuing Professional Development statement, and then your career episodes, 3 career episodes, and then your summary statement. And I'll be talking about this in more detail. And once you have everything, nowadays then you create a login in the Engineers Australia My Portal, and then you upload all those documents. There are specific sections to upload academic stuff, work stuff, and the reports. And then you pay the fee. I think nowadays the standard CDR is about $800 something dollars. If you are going to apply for RSEA, Relevant to Skilled Employment Assessment, for those that are going to do some migration process, you need some points. Immigration Department, they do that, but Engineers Australia can also do that. So, and then you gotta pay another $300 something dollars extra. So, in terms of the English test, these are the 3 English tests that are accepted by Engineers Australia: IELTS, TOEFL, PTE. You've got to have those grades in each band.
16 in all.
Yeah. Listening, reading, writing, speaking. Let's say that overall you got 7, but let's say that writing you got 5.5. Then count. Even though overall is 7.5, if you had a bad one below 6, you can't use it. In the Engineers Australia website, there's actually one question that they answered, because somebody asked the question, can I use 2 tests? Let's say that you got bad in writing, 5.5, and then later on you sit another test, you got 6.5, but then you got 5.5 in listening. So in just one test you don't have it, but Engineers Australia say that they may consider if you send it 2, if they are within the 2 years, whatever. So have a look in the Engineers Australia website. You can combine tests. If you didn't get in the first sitting, you try to do the next one, and then you go bad in the other one. They may accept the combination of 2 tests, as long as they are the same. You're not going to present one IELTS, another PTE. Both got to be IELTS, or both got to be TOEFL, both got to be PTE. I don't know which one is better, easier. When I did it, there was just IELTS, so I just got IELTS. A lot of engineers, they wait until they get the score to start writing. I consider that as a little bit of a mistake. When I did it, I didn't have the English test, but I started to prepare my documentation as well. Because by the time that I got my English test, I got my CDR pretty much ready. And just the fact that I was researching, I was reading, I was writing my reports, I believe that it helped me with my English test. Because I was reading, I was writing, I was interpreting things, so without me knowing, I was probably studying English as well. So I dedicated 6 to 8 months studying English, technical English, which is different from general English and when you read. If you read technical standards, when you read technical magazines or journals or English websites, you're actually studying, and you will need those terminologies when you're writing your career episodes. If you use terminologies in your episodes that are too standard, general, Engineers Australia will interpret that you are not at the engineering or professional engineering level. They may classify you as a technologist or a technician because the words that you are using are not at the engineering professional level. So it's very important for you to think about it. And when you say, now I'm going to have, when I have my English test, I will start. That's your brain procrastinating, because it's a lot of work. You know there's a lot of work, and you're just grabbing that as an excuse for you to procrastinate a little bit more. So just keep in mind. So CPD is one of the most easy, or the easiest document that you can put together. Is the continuing professional development. CPD is how we engineers, we keep ourselves updated with technology, with engineering knowledge. So once you graduate, it's expected that you will keep studying, keep learning, keep improving professionally. Is it before or after the graduation? What do you think? If you've done a course when you're studying, can you use that as your CPD? No? Somebody else? No? No, yeah, that's the right answer. CPD is just after you've graduated. Whatever of these things here, doesn't matter if you did before graduation. If you did before, you cannot use as your CPD. You may use in your career episode, but not as CPD. CPD you can use some post-graduation courses, specialization, extension courses, masters, PhD, post-PhD, whatever post-graduation courses. Conferences, if you attended a conference or if you presented a paper in a conference, you can use the time that if you presented, the time that you spent to put together the paper, and then the time that you presented, or just the time that you attended. Workshops, short courses, technical visits, inspections. That's interesting because when you graduate, you certainly did a lot of technical visits. If you went to the factory, if you went to the job site, if you went to a client, etc., and you discussed technical things, that is part of your professional development. When you're working, sometimes you've got to prepare some material because you're going to present something in a meeting. You have other engineers there, and then you're presenting something. So you can use that preparation and the presentation as your CPD. Services to engineering. Basically, volunteering services, services to engineering boards. I even say that if you live in a complex of apartments and then you're part of the administration group, and because they know that you're an engineer and they ask you to contribute to evaluate quotations and other things, etc., you're doing that voluntarily. That could be also used as part of your CPD. When I do my interviews with Engineers Australia, I count as part of my CPD. There's 1 hour that I'm here, and when I'm there helping you guys how to validate is my voluntary service to engineering. So I can use that in my CPD. In private studies, when you read technical magazines, when you read technical standards, websites, technical websites, etc., your private study that you do. And just going back here, your CPD got to be just one page. Engineers Australia asks you to do just one page A4 as a list format. You've got to have the date that you did, the type of event, let's say training in reinforced concrete, the venue where you did the training, and then the duration of that training. Just 4 or 5 columns, that's it, a list, not more than that. And then, yeah, the career episodes, yeah, that's the thing. You need to do 3 career episodes, and they are a report of your academic education, engineering academic education, and or your work experience as an engineer. There are 3 experiences between 1,000 and 2,500 words each. I myself, when I did it, I did the maximum because I wanted to make sure that I wrote as much as I could to prove my point. If you write a little bit less, it could be a missing opportunity for you to demonstrate some evidences. They are from periods or aspects, different aspects or different periods of your engineering activity. It is a proof that you've worked in that area, and the format of each episode or career episode, you have an introduction around 100 words, and then you've got to have a background. You give a little bit of information about the project and a little bit of information about your experience that you're going to be exploring. It's about between 300 and 500 words. And then your personal engineering activity, which is the main body of your report, where in here you will describe everything of that particular experience. And usually you're going to have a complex engineering problem that you had to solve, the methodology that you used to solve, what were the options that you considered, what were the technical base, what sort of technical standards, whatever, pros and cons of each option, and then you use your engineering judgment, and then you decide on an option, and then you implement that option generates an outcome, and then you fulfill the original objective. So in a nutshell, it's very simple. There's a problem, you develop the problem, and then you solve, and that's it. Simple, isn't it? It is simple.
But not easy.
But it's not easy. It's very, very difficult. And that's why I took 8 months. And I don't want you guys to spend 8 months writing. Because I remember how frustrated I was every time, tired from waking up 4 a.m. to vacuum the QUT library, going back to the school, and then you know the Suncorp building here with the clock, that building there? The toilets were mine. 7th floor to the ground floor, 4 toilets per floor, 28 toilets, 4 hours. Yes. 8 months cleaning toilets. There was one particular guy that I don't know what he was eating, but bloody. But, and then coming back home, tired from work, waking up early, studying, working until 10 p.m., and then having to write career episodes, and getting frustrated because it wasn't right. So, and obviously the natural procrastination. Tomorrow I'll do it. I'm gonna barbecue tomorrow with a friend, so yeah, it doesn't bother. And then This is about between 1,000 to 1,500 words, and then you do a summary. So you're going to repeat that process 3 times. And you've got to make sure that in those 3 career episodes, you have to cover 16 competencies. Either for professional engineers, technicians, or technologists, they all have 16 competencies. They're all different, but you've got to make sure that you cover all the 16 competencies in those 3 career episodes. And for each competency, there's a template in the Engineers Australia website. All the 16 competencies in the first column. The second column, you've got I think I've got a template here. I think, yeah. So these are the 16 competencies. In the middle column here, you've got to say how you believe you've achieved those competencies. So you've got to write a lot of things here. And then in the third column, you've got to number the paragraphs. When you're writing the career episodes, each paragraph you put a number. Let's say career episode number 1, paragraph number 1, which is introduction, is 1.1. And then you have a second paragraph, 1.2. And then you go until 1.20 something. Second career episode, 2.1 is the introduction. And then 2.2, 2.3, every paragraph you number, because this will guide the assessor. Because when you're saying application of systematic engineering synthesis and design processes, well, that's easy, isn't it? Easy to understand. You just got to put here that it is in C 1.11, 1.12, 2.3, or 3.8, or whatever. Whatever paragraph talks about those things, you got to reference there. So the assessor will look at this, we'll look at the numbers, we'll go there, and we'll verify that whatever you've written fulfills the competencies. This is the nightmare of engineers, because we don't know how to interpret competencies. We're engineers, we're not writers, we're not. We work with the left-hand side of the brain. This is about right-hand side of the brain. So for those that they work with the right-hand side, they will go very well. In my case, left-hand side, hopeless. But I had to learn. When I did the training to do training and assessment, I got a certificate for in training and assessment, I learned about competencies, because I had them to assess competencies of my students. So I learned how to do that. So just going back here. Yeah, there is a template in the Engineers Australia. It's in Word document. You can download the template from the Engineers Australia website. And you just need to do one summary statement for the 3 career episodes. You don't need to do one for each. Some people apologize, I need to do 3. No, just one. That you will reference paragraphs of the 3 career episodes. So some of the main questions that usually people ask me: I'm a graduate engineer, can I validate my qualification? Yes, you can. Engineers Australia is one of the few ones that you don't need to have work experience, as long as you had an active life in university. I was talking with, I think, Everton and Benitez, that I had a very active life in university. I was playing cards and pool table and drinking beer every day. So it's not that activity. You're gonna have done internships, group projects, or study groups. You have to be a good student, so you can demonstrate that you did a lot of things while you're studying, especially the application of complex engineering technologies or techniques or methodologies. Can I use internship and courses during the graduation or during the study as a CPD? As I said before, no. CPD is just after the graduation. The company that I worked for doesn't exist anymore, or the boss left the company. How can I get a reference letter if the company closed down? So there are a few ways that you can do it. You can go back see if you can remember who was the client, try to contact the client and ask the client if the client is willing to give you a letter, and then you can draft a letter, send to the client can sign and give it to you. You can demonstrate your pay slips, o lerite in Portuguese, your tax return, proving that you got income from that company in that period, and but the important thing is to demonstrate the company, the period, your title, your main functions. And can I utilize online templates of career episodes because I don't know how to start writing? You can't, but a lot of people they do. And I've got few engineers already that came to me saying that they were caught by plagiarism. And Engineers Australia, not different from universities, they use a very advanced technology and softwares to detect plagiarism. And a lot of people, they get tempted to get things online and hire companies to write their CDRs. And when they are caught by plagiarism, usually Engineers Australia, they ban the applicant for 12 months, and they also inform Home Affairs Department of the details, because that is a breach of the Code of Ethics. So be careful with that. I certainly don't support you guys to do that. As I said before, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. You just need to be following a structured method. And because I saw a lot of people doing this, just before that, a little bit of Code of Ethics. These are from the Engineers Australia. I decided that every time that I talk to engineers, I will talk about Engineers Australia Code of Ethics, because it's one point that Engineers Australia, they value a lot. So when you're writing your career episodes, have a read at the Code of Ethics of Engineers Australia, because there are some competencies that you need to demonstrate that you've done this as well. So you've got to demonstrate integrity. You can do that when you act based on a well-informed conscience. So this means that you know what you're doing. You're just not guessing. Be honest and reliable, of course. You respect the dignity of everybody, so you don't really have discrimination against race, religion, gender, sex, etc., etc. You've got to practice competently, which is that you've got to have your CPD, your professional development. You've got to keep yourself up to date. And you've got to represent your area of competency. So if you are a civil engineer, somebody asks you to do a job that a mechanical engineer should do, you should say, sorry, but that's not my area of competency, although I would love to do that because I can get an extra few bucks, but it's not my competency, I cannot do it. I can refer to a colleague, mechanical engineer, that can help you. You've got to act based on adequate knowledge. So that means you follow standards, you follow prescriptive norms, so you don't invent things. You just do of what's proven to work. And then the 3 and 4 demonstrate leadership and promote sustainability. So as a leader, engineers usually they are leaders in their teams. They will demonstrate that they certainly they have a very good reputation. They support, they mentor other engineers. They tell the clients, you know, client, you're not a technical person. I'm choosing to do this because of this, 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 and that. So explain to the client the reasons why you're making that decision. And then you promote sustainability, making sure that you're not going to harm the environment, that your children or your grandchildren will find a better place that you live than you live today. And every time that you practice engineering, if you're doing a design, you think about how can I do a design that I will save water? How can I generate less waste? How can I do things that will burn less fuel? So you've got to have that thought when you're doing engineering. So, as I said before, today I launched my workshop. It's a free workshop. I'm going to cover all of this. If you watch the 3 videos, you probably can start writing your CDR straight away. I'm going to talk in more details about the pathways of the validation, in more details about the steps to validate, the CDR steps. I cover the 7 top questions about the validation process. I cover the 7 top mistakes that engineers they make when they're doing CDR. I give 6 practical examples of CPD, your continuing professional development. I also talk about the career episodes and how to better choose your experiences. Some people, they have a lot of experiences, but they got to choose the right ones to make sure that they can address all the 16 competencies. I talk in length about the risks of plagiarism, and I explain what is summary statement. And also, I'll talk about the revision process with Engineers Australia if they don't approve your application. How it's going to work? I will be sending 3 videos to your email. So when you register, you put your email there. This morning, for the ones that already registered, I sent already this morning the first email with the first video. It's a bit long video, it's 20 minutes video, but there's a lot of content there. So if you're really interested, 20 minutes is not going to be just a time video. If you choose not to check Instagram and Facebook, you will have more than 20 minutes. I actually say that in the video. If you cannot watch a 20-minute video, don't waste your time. Go and watch your Netflix series and check someone else's Instagram. Because if you really want to do this, you've got to be committed. If you're not committed, and there will be 2 face-to-face events today. Here, we're having a face-to-face event. After this, Hola Networking is doing an event as well, 6 until 9. It was just a coincidence that it was the same day. I'm attending that event as well. And then I have 3 live sessions in Instagram. That's the first thing that I'm doing. I've never done this before. Before I've done 3 workshops already. I was just sending emails with the videos. But now I'm going to do a live session on Instagram. And let's say that Vinicius, he's got a question. And then during the live session, he can say, hey Jason, I want to ask you a question. And then I think Instagram, you ask to be part of the live, and then I accept, and then I can have a chat with Vinicius and everybody can hear what he's saying. Because his question can be other people's question, because you're all talking about validation process. So usually, a question that one has, everybody already had or never thought about it, and will have in the future. So it's not going to be long, it's probably 15, 20 minutes. I've got a very angry wife and a very demanding daughter, and weekends and nights, usually they want me to be there, I've got to do homeworks and things like that. So it's going to be this Saturday, 8 a.m. in the morning, because my daughter, she's got tuition classes at 9, so I've got to do it quick, and then I've got to take her to the classes. And then I'm going to have another one next Tuesday, 7 p.m., and then Thursday, 6 p.m. And then on the 9th, that's an important event. I'm going to have a live webinar. A live webinar, I've got a webinar too, that let's say that you guys are participating in the webinar. I can see all of you guys there. You also can raise your hand and you can ask me questions. It's going to be very interactive. I'm going to be presenting what you need to do for the next steps to continue. I've got an online course. When I started this project, I didn't have anything, it was just to share information. But I had 20 people, 23 I think, that asked me to give consultancy. Yes, I need consultancy because I need to do this. I said, sorry, but I don't have time. I work full-time and I don't have time. And if I give consultancy, is going to be expensive because it's about 30 hours of time, so you can have a very successful application. 30 hours, $200 an hour, $6,000. So I personally don't think that you guys should pay that amount of money. You should not pay. Many agents make, oh, just shut up. But yeah, it's too much money. You can't do this without it. If you follow my videos, watch all my videos and read all my blogs, I've got I think 15 articles in my blog, you will do it. It can take a little bit longer, but you can do it. But even so, I had people, oh Jason, we need your help. So I can't. So I developed an online course where I can reach a lot of people with a fraction of the price. I think it's $600. Three classes, 3.5 hours each class. And I have a mentoring group in Telegram. So I read, I give feedback of the documents, etc., etc. So I probably should charge more, but the objective is not that. So the 9th of November, 10 a.m. Brisbane time, of course. I'll have this live webinar. I'll be talking about a few other things in the validation process and what you could do in the next step. So if you haven't registered yet, if you type in that one there, you can register yourself. You will get an email to confirm your email address. It's very important. Once you register, you've got to open your email and there's a button, you've got to confirm the email address. Because if you just register, if you don't confirm, you're not confirmed. So once you confirm, you get an email saying your participation, registration is confirmed. And then subsequently you'll get already, I hope, because I did all myself, I don't know if it's working, you will get another email with the first video of the workshop. And then the other videos, Monday I'm going to release the second video, and then Wednesday next week I'm going to release the third video. All in preparation for the live webinar on Saturday morning. And if you don't follow me in my social media, and don't think that I'm in this knowing everything, because I started all of these in April. I didn't know anything. I had to research. I work in my spare time until 2 a.m. in the morning. My wife is with me. But if I don't do this, I cannot offer you guys all the contents. So if you haven't liked my page in Facebook, please like it. It helps the page to go to more people. I've got a special groups in Facebook. If you're not part of the groups, please be part of the group. You can ask questions, you can post your questions there. Once you register to my workshop, you will be registered to my website. You're getting emails with notifications. My YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got more than 50, 60 videos there. Like, put some comment. It helps the YouTube to give to more engineers. And Telegram, in the email, you have a button to be part of my Telegram group. And Telegram is like WhatsApp. So you've got to download the Telegram app, and then you click in the button, you'll be part of my group. I post a lot of videos, I post messages, I post job opportunities there. Every time that there is something, I post in the Telegram group. And thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I've got my Talk to Me or Talk to Us on my website. You can send me questions, suggestions, comments. If you want something in the videos, send me a suggestion and I will record a video of that. So if you have any question, you guys have any question?
Yes, about the CPT.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just misunderstanding, but the summary statement must be a table.
The summary statement is a table, that format.
And the CPT is not.
CPD is a list, is a table as well.
Is a table as well.
Table as well.
I have prepared it in a list, but just today I realized that in the booklet you have to put in a
Yeah,
table.
you gotta put in a table, maximum one A4 page, not more than that. I'll still be here until 4:30, then I gotta shoot off to the other one. We can catch up there, because I think there's somebody who's gonna talk about migration, so. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much, guys. If you're still here, I think I'll be here, I think I can probably be until 10 to 5. And then, if you can't catch up with me because you want to watch the other presentation, yeah, give me a call. I've got business cards, if you want to grab one and pass the other. My phone number is there, you can give me a call, your number, it's not fussy. Unless I'm in a meeting or something during the day, I'm not going to answer, but other than that, I'm more than happy to talk with you guys. Thank you very much, and I wish you good luck. Please participate in my workshop. There's a lot of information in there.
Thank you, Joe.